Most of the time, I do my intros after I've watched both of the episodes, just so if there's anything specific in either one I can reference, I can put it there. But this time I'm doing it before. I feel like nothing will quite capture my true feelings about this show. Me sitting here, looking exhausted, sipping on some coffee. Because I really need it. What's up, guys? Mason the Rock Henderson here, and this is The Walking Dead World Beyond Season 1, Episode 5, Madman Across the Water. I'm not even preparing myself for these reviews because I just don't even know what to say. Once again, so much stupidity in this one, so much bad acting. The writing is terrible. Probably my favorite awful line in this one that just made me laugh because of how stupid it is. You got Felix and Iris going off. I don't remember what they were looking for now, but they get to this daiquiri town or something like that, and all of a sudden lightning strikes this pole and knocks it into the building, which releases all these walkers, which is hilarious to me because the pole hits the side of the building, and yet somehow the walkers are now able to open the door to get outside. It would have made more sense if the pole opened the door or knocked open the side that then they walked out through the hole, but for it to hit the side of the building and then the walkers open the door to get out. What? But anyway, the lightning strikes the pole, knocks it into the building. Iris's line after that, where did that come from? I don't know. I mean, where does lightning come from? You got me, Iris. That's a great question. I have no idea where lightning could possibly come from. I'm not smart enough for that, I guess. So bad. But story-wise, this is the one where Hope confronts Elton because apparently she's been hearing all these little mumbled side conversations. It's so funny to me because whenever Huck and Felix go off to have one of those conversations, all I can think is you guys are still talking normally. They should be able to hear you. But I just have to assume it's bad acting and bad directing. That they can't do it realistically enough to where we, the audience, know, oh, okay, they're saying this off to the side and the kids can't hear them. But in fact, they are speaking loud enough to where Hope can hear it, apparently. Either that or she's got super hearing, I don't know. But yeah, she hears all of this. She hears Elton's helping them turn them around. And so it leads to this whole blow up where everybody is mad. But their mad is, of course, no anger in the eyebrows, no anger in the eyes. It's just raised voices. And it's something I didn't even really comprehend until I was talking to my roommate about this show and explaining some of the show. But the truth is, the acting is almost always just in the vocal performances. And even then, they don't sound that convincing. You can just tell that they're either putting on an angry voice or putting on a sad voice or putting on a happy voice. That's about all you can tell. It's not great, but that's the only way you could see emotion. Because just looking at their faces, I mean, from here up, the faces never change. From here down, it's almost always a smile. Whether they're mad, happy, sad, whatever, there's almost always a smile. Iris always looks like she's on the verge of just breaking out laughing, even whenever she's angry in this scene at Elton for what he's done. Blows my mind, but again, try not to go too hard in on the acting anymore because I've already talked about it at length. It was just something that popped into my head. Really, if you just look at their faces, you have no idea what they're actually feeling. But of course, all of this gets resolved. The girls aren't going to turn back. Huck changes her mind at some point. Don't know when. I will say Huck for me has just gotten on my nerves the more she's been involved with the group. I don't know what it is, but her performance just feels the oddest out of all of them. Like whenever she's going over to talk to Hope, there are just moments whenever she's sitting there not saying anything, she's just like running her tongue all over her mouth. I don't know why that's been a choice. Yeah, I don't know. Like that's her whole performance. With the head bobbing, and what is this character? Who is this actress, and why has she chosen this? Because it's awful. But apparently she changed her mind at some point, don't know when. Felix, of course, is going to change his mind because all those spunky kids. There gets to be a moment whenever the boat breaks down because they build a boat in this episode, by the way, guys. I don't know if you guys know this, but these characters, they're so good at surviving, they can build a boat. Sure, they can't kill walkers, but they can build a boat. But of course, everything doesn't go right, so you have Silas and Elton going off to get their stuff, and they get there just in the nick of time, right as the walkers are showing up, and they pour the stuff in, but then things go wrong, so then Elton has to confront his fear of claustrophobia, climb up under the boat and turn the rudder or something. I don't know. All this seemed like bullshit to me. If anybody who's actually built a boat or knows about boats can tell me if any of this makes sense that they were able to put together, please let me know. But just watching it, I felt like I was just watching like the most unrealistic part of the show. And the show has zombies. But there's so much about this scene that just made me laugh because Elton, like I said, claustrophobic, has to go up under the boat and then he gets stuck down there. Well, then we cut to Felix is going up against a couple of walkers that have gotten past his little fishing line thing. And it's so funny to me because it should be as easy as stab, stab, stab. Pretty sure there's just 3 or 4. So it shouldn't take much for him to just take out the couple that are on the side, get the 2 that are coming at him. But for some reason, it takes Hope and Iris coming in, jumping on top of them. Which I'm like, okay, so the 2 of you can kill walkers now? When did that change? Because that wasn't the case in the last episode. But they have to show up and save him. Elton gets stuck up under the boat, and he's just screaming for somebody to help him. All of a sudden, he's getting pulled out. It's Iris and Hope. What the hell were Silas and Huck doing that whole time? If they weren't helping with the walkers, and they weren't helping Elton, what were they doing? Iris and Hope were just running all over the place, saving everybody. I don't know. It was just so bizarre, I had to laugh. But on Elton, we do get a little bit more about his backstory. We also have the scene where Hope realizes, oh no, I killed his mom, oh no. So I'm sure that's going to be a thing soon. But we see why he's claustrophobic, because he was stuck inside this little container while he heard all the sounds of all the awful stuff happening outside. And then he gets out, and the thing is, it doesn't seem like he's in there for more than maybe a couple of hours at most. He gets out. His father is like a mostly turned walker with a bullet in his head. What? He was in there for a few hours. And suddenly his father's like a decaying corpse that's been shot. How are the idiots that put the show together not using their brains here? Because even if his father got bit, what does it take, like a day at least? And I'm going to do some research. Okay, so everything I'm saying is after they get bit, takes typically about 48 hours for them to die and then turn. After they die, of course, typically they become a walker fairly soon, within a few minutes. But they don't look like a decaying corpse after a few minutes. They die, they come back looking however they were with whatever wounds they had. But his father looks like he'd been dead years, or at least months. And he was in there for a few hours. Did anybody use their brains? But yeah, so don't know how his dad died. Don't know if walkers got in there. And again, if they did, he would have gotten bit and then died several hours later, not right away. But it's just so funny because this scene, it's supposed to be, I think, inspiring, with young Elton picking up the horn, putting it in his bag, and then like slowly walking. You got the dramatic music playing, and the kid's just got no expression on his face. Again, not gonna harp on kid actors because I know it's tough. And then one final scene, and trying not to harp on this, but man, there are some scenes in this one that did make me laugh because of how bad the acting is. But you've got this moment when Elton goes off before Hope comes over and talks to him about his mom. And you just have this moment where you see him sitting there. It's almost like they told him, all right, we're just going to have you think about your mom and then you're going to cry. We'd love to see some tears. And it's almost like he sits down and goes, I'm sorry, guys, I couldn't get tears. That's what it looked like he was about to do. Because he just puts on this sad looking face, no tears come out, and then he just moves on like nothing just happened. This show is awful, and it's starting to become funny bad a little bit. Hopefully it could do that. If it could do that, if it can make me laugh because of how bad some of the writing and the acting is, fantastic. I'll take that over being boring and dull, which has been most of the season so far. But yeah, so we're halfway through. The one guy that I think is the one that was being threatened by the general lady or whatever her title is. I think that's him that's coming up through the woods. If so, how the hell did he get out without them killing him or imprisoning him? I thought she was about to either execute him as an example or just lock him away so he can't ever leave. It seemed like an odd choice, if that is what's happened here. But with all that being said, that'll do it for this one. So on to the next one. I'll see you there. And now episode 6, Shadow Puppets, because that's what we want to see more of. We want to see more love triangles. That's what makes the Nickelodeon's The Walking Dead World Beyond so good, guys. Don't you just want to see more stupid love triangles? As soon as Percy showed up and they started showing the little looks between him and Iris and then cut to Silas, I wanted to throw something. I'm like, we're not doing this. We are doing... Okay, go ahead. Do your stupid little thing. You're writing for teenagers that are not supposed to be watching this because it's for mature adults, and teenagers are not mature adults. But you're writing for an immature audience with this type of stuff. I don't get it. But yeah, the whole story of Percy and his Uncle Tony and all that, it's just stupid. I will say it did take me a little bit because I haven't seen the one guy that got locked up that had gone against the one lady. I didn't remember what he looked like, so it did take me a minute. I was like, is this the same guy? But then as he started talking about the stuff that he had done, I was like, okay, so it's not him. But it was so funny because as he's talking, I'm sitting here, he's full of shit. Like his whole story of being up on the bridge, the herd of bison, that whole story was so stupid. And the fact that Hope only picked up on the whole, oh, you went from, was it Kentucky to Florida or something like that? Oh, you went there that quickly? You had to have had a car. That's the only thing she picked up on. Nobody called him out for his BS with the bison story? Like, yeah, I was on a bridge and I heard a bunch of moaning. It turned out to be bison. I thought it was the has-beens, because what another great name for walkers. You had the has-beens, guys, because they once were, now they has-been. But in what world has a walker ever sounded like a bison? I don't even really know what bison sound like because I've not heard a lot of them, but I could tell you they probably sound nothing like what walkers sound like. If I had to guess, they probably sound a lot deeper, like, something like that. And walkers have only ever sounded like, that's a walker. So how on earth could you confuse the two? You can't. So of course the story is bullshit, and I'm glad that at the very least I was justified in feeling anger at how obviously bullshit that story was, because later on you find out he is completely full of shit. That's what he and his uncle do. Yeah, most of the story with Iris and Percy is just so dumb. Again, we don't need this bullshit in The Walking Dead. The fact that we already had that weird thing between Rosita, Father Gabriel, and Sadiq and Eugene, that whole thing in The Walking Dead was already annoying enough. But now you're doing it with kids and you've got this jealousy forming with Silas. Why? But this whole plan that Tony and Percy come up with to steal their things, it works out way too well. I don't know how they timed as much of this as they did. I will say it was really stupid because as we hear Percy getting shot, they cut to outside with Silas standing there looking on, and Tony is standing up as a walker. And the stupid thing about that is, why is he walking like that? Because Silas isn't looking at him, so it's not like he's trying to sneak up on him. The only reason he's walking like that is for the audience's sake, to make us go, oh no, he's turned, and he's gonna get Silas now, because Silas isn't paying attention. But he was shot in the head, so there's no reason he should have turned. Like, honestly, when he was standing up before you realized it was all a trick, I was sitting there like, are they really going with he was shot in the head, but he still turned anyway? Is that really what we're going with? And then whenever he ran away, I'm like, oh, okay, so it was fake. I don't understand why they thought that would make an intense scene when most people are probably sitting there going, how on earth didn't he die? Or how did he turn, even though his brain should not be functioning still? But then we get more stupidity after that. Iris falling into a big dumpster. There are two walkers in there. One of them grabs her because she lets go of her weapon, and yeah, she should be dead. 100% she should be dead. It's so funny how many times we see the walkers, even if they don't bite, they still rip. You know, they go to grab flesh to peel it off so they can eat it. We've seen that happen so many times. Unless it's a main character that gets grabbed, then they're all about, I want to get your face. I want to try to get your face. I want to grab your face. And they never do because the main characters are able to hold them off somehow. It's just like, if they're capable of grabbing and ripping skin off, that should happen whenever they've got somebody pinned down. But it only happens for some characters, not the main characters. But she should not have the strength to hold this walker off. She's not been out there doing all of this stuff, surviving for a long time. So the idea that she's sitting there like, oh yes, I can hold you off and keep you from biting my face, when a lot of people that are more used to surviving out there struggle to, it's stupid. And then on top of that, we have Felix and Hope open the side of the dumpster to get her out. Felix grabs one of them, chucks it into the fence to stab it in the head. As Iris is holding it off, suddenly a knife into the back of the head. It's Percy. Somebody want to explain to me how Percy gets back before the truck gets back and gets to Iris and stabs the walker in the back of the head, even though Hope was probably standing right there and should have been able to help a lot quicker. It was just one of those, like, they wanted Percy to be the one to save her because they're building that connection between the two of them, guys. So let's have him, beyond all logic and comprehension, get back before the truck and stab the walker before Hope can get there. Don't know how it makes sense, but it just happened, guys. That's what happened. But having Percy and Tony change their minds doesn't make any sense. It's one of those stupid things that you see whenever you got a couple of guys that are con men, but then one of them falls in love with one of the marks, and oh no, is he going to be able to carry through with the con? That's basically what happened here. Percy likes Iris, and so he wanted to go back to save her. That's the story. It's stupid. It doesn't make sense when movies and TV shows do it. To do it in The Walking Dead makes even less sense. Because so many people out here are out for themselves to survive, doing what they did puts their own lives in jeopardy. So it makes no sense that Percy would change his mind just because this one girl is like, oh, giving him the eyes, and oh, she went back to save him, and oh my gosh. People aren't this stupid, especially two guys that have survived for as long as they have. They can't be this stupid. But they are, because if not, then our main characters would be shit out of luck. Also loved the line from Iris where she's like, I thought I would be better at this. You're judging people out here. You've been out there for what, maybe a week? You've not met anybody out there. You only know the people that are living comfortably inside of your society. How the hell would you be good when this is the first group that you met? What is that line? It's like Fear the Walking Dead, when after a month or so of being in the apocalypse, suddenly they're talking as if they are masters of survival, when Rick and his group took at least a year, if not more, to get comfortable at surviving out there. But within a month, the Fear the Walking Dead survivors were like, oh, we're good at this. We know what we're doing. And they didn't most of the time. They just survived with bullshit luck. But it's the same thing here. Why would Iris be good at that when she's not met anybody outside of their community? She doesn't know what anybody's like. A lot of people are probably like them and wouldn't come back. But sure, just to make it seem like, oh yeah, guys, feel bad for her. She trusted somebody. She thought she knew how people were, but she was wrong. Well, of course she was wrong. And then we get to the final scene with this stupid little shadow puppet show. And first of all, they're setting it up like, oh yes, we're going to give you some entertainment. I'm thinking he's going to put on a magic show. But then we cut back to the shadow puppet show at the beginning. And I'm thinking, okay, well, it probably won't be the same thing, because that shadow puppet show went into the whole, like, people turning, people becoming walkers, everything falling apart. So that's probably not entertaining. They start doing it, and I'm like, oh, okay. So we're going to do this, but it ends on a hopeful note, guys. And just to let the audience know, hey, this is how this puppet show should make you be feeling. They cut to our main characters who are sitting there, tears in their eyes, Hope and Iris holding hands. Guys, this is a good show. This show makes you feel things. No, it doesn't. Just because you cut to the characters and they're crying doesn't make me cry, because I have to connect with the show to actually feel what you're showing me. And again, this is supposed to be an entertaining puppet show, by the way. It's just all about how people have died, people have turned, the walkers took over the world, society fell apart. But guys, there's hope at the end. And that should make you feel good. And look at all these characters crying, guys. Oh, this show means something. Shut up. Shut up with your pretentious writing. Shut up with your pretentious directing and editing and all of this bullshit. None of it feels this way. I can tell you from an audience's perspective, you're trying to show us this is how you should be feeling. I don't. I feel none of it. And it pisses me off whenever shows do this. Whether they have characters reacting to be like, guys, this is how you should be feeling. Or whether they have characters talking about other characters. It's happened a lot in the CW Arrowverse, where you got one character, oh, you're amazing, you're fantastic, you're the best. Basically to try to make the audience go, oh, they're fantastic, they're amazing, they're the best. But that's not how that works. You can't just have your characters react or say something and then your audience feels it. The audience has to connect. And if you're not doing that with your writing, then the disconnect is going to really bring your audience out of it. So yeah, I know I went back to kind of ranting about this episode, but there were just so many moments where it feels like the writing is getting very self-righteous. Almost like they feel like they're making art, when in reality what they're making is shit. And they're sculpting the shit into something that looks like art. But in reality, it's still just shit. And some people may look at the shit and go, oh, that's kind of cool. But most people are going to look at it and go, that's just a pile of shit. So that's what I'm doing. But anyway, with all that being said, those are my thoughts on these two. So go ahead and cue the outro. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that review. I hope you enjoyed it. First and foremost, please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I love having discussions with people, so whatever your thoughts were, whether you agree or disagree with me, please leave them down below. Obviously, no spoilers. Also, if you did find yourself enjoying this review and you want to see more, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out. I also have a gaming channel as well as a channel where I talk about soccer, so if you want to give those a follow as well, that would be much appreciated. And lastly, if you want to help me improve upon the quality of these channels, I do have a Patreon. All of this is in the description below. With all that being said, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out.